was this a final hurrah from Declan Rice?
I think it has to be. We promised him he could go. He set his heart on going. You can't ask for a man who's committed more to us this season. And in due course, I think he has to go, and we have to get a replacement.
West Ham flying back this morning, but co-owner David Sullivan flew back, I think, with Karen Brady last night, straight after the trophy lift. He got in a plane and came back to the UK. And this morning, he's spoken to talkSPORT exclusively. What a moment for his beloved West Ham winning a European trophy.
Absolutely elated. I'm so pleased for the supporters. And the only great sadness for me is that my long-term business partner, David Gold, and his daughter, lovely Jacqueline, were not there to celebrate it. You know, in life you only have so many football seasons, and the seasons ran out for him. You know, and I'm lucky enough that one of my seasons we actually won something. The manager's exactly the same. You get so many football seasons, he never won anything, but he won something big last night. You know, and it puts us back in the Europa League next year. And look what Roma did in that, having won this competition. So it's twinged with sadness, but I'm so grateful for what the team achieved, what the supporters achieved, and 99% of the supporters were impeccably well behaved, and we're proud of them. A few idiots slinging plastic cups on the pitch, and you can't do that in football. But other than that, it was a wonderful, splendid night. A bit of magic from a magic player won the game, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful night. And to win late on, that's how we beat Blackpool when we got promotion for the Championship, is a wonderful feeling. I looked up a couple of times. I pray for David Gold every night to go to heaven. I know it sounds corny, but every night since he's died, I pray for him to go to heaven. And I do believe that there's someone who does look down on you sometimes and gives you a bit of good. And I've been praying we're winning this game for weeks. And thankfully we did.
David, your manager, David Moyes, said to me weeks ago, I'm so pleased that the ownership believed in me. And you did.
We believed in him. We under a lot of pressure from supporters, press, everyone who seems mad on making changes. But we believe in honouring contracts. David had a contract with us and has a contract with us to next summer. And next summer we look at it again, you know. But until then, as long as he wants to remain the manager, he will remain the manager of West Ham. Hope a lot of people turn out tonight when the buses go to the town hall. I think 7 or 8 o'clock tonight. It'll all be on the West Ham website. And then the boys can go and have a well-deserved holiday.
And David, this morning, do you hope and pray that this is a moment that you hope the fans feel at one with you, the owners?
I hope so, because if they look at our pledge from when we moved to the stadium, I think most of which we said we wanted to deliver regular European football. Well, this is now the third year in a row. And not only we delivered it, we got to the semi-final last year. We've won it this year. So we're delivering it with real commitment to these competitions. You know, we've allowed affordable family football. We have the cheapest season tickets in the Premier League. We got an academy, won the FA Youth Cup for the first time for 30, 40 years. So there's a lot gone right at the club this year, and we will strive to improve on it next year, which won't be easy, but, you know, we want to be back in the top 6 on merit next year, and that's the target.
And was this a final hurrah from Declan Rice?
I think it has to be. We promised him he could go. He set his heart on going. You can't ask for a man who's committed more to us this season, and in due course, I think he has to go, and we have to get a replacement, you know, or several replacements. It's not something we want to happen. We offered him $200,000 a week 18 months ago. He turned it down. It's cost him £10 million to stay with West Ham for that period of time and lost wages. And he wants to go. And you can't keep a player who doesn't want to be there.
You told me not that long ago, David, you wanted 120 million plus add-ons. Have you been offered that?
No, but I think the offers will start to come today. There's 3 or 4 clubs have shown interest, but out of respect to West Ham, while they're still playing, you don't start making offers for players. That's not the way decent clubs do things.
Oh, yeah?
That was David Sullivan speaking exclusively to talkSPORT just a short time ago. Declan Rice, they expect 3 to 4 clubs to come in maybe as early as today, Simon. You heard them there. You can't keep a player who wants to go, so it would seem that Declan Rice has played his last game for West Ham United. And David Moyes, he's the manager, and he goes into next season, and he's there as long as he wants to be there. So David Sullivan,
until they start losing games,
telling it as it is this morning. And on a serious note, speaking with great sincerity about his great friend David Gold, who sadly passed away in recent months, and of course was not there to see what is now being regarded as one of the, if not the greatest moment in the history of West Ham United. Does it make sense to you, Simon? If you were David Sullivan, would you now be saying, right, let's have a look at the bids that are coming in for Declan, because he's going to go and he wants to go?
Well, if David's to be taken at face value, and I have to pull back on the argument that that's how decent clubs operate when they don't bid for players, because David does regular things like put bids in for Andy Johnson when we were playing that were never manifesting themselves, so I'll pull back on that particular analysis. But yeah, if he's promised him, in the same way, again, with the aforementioned Andy Johnson, that he can go at a certain time and has to observe a certain relationship with the club until that time manifests itself, then it's entirely appropriate. If you've given your word and then you suddenly decide that you're going to change your mind because you've got the ability to hold him for another 2 years, you're going to find yourself in very murky waters with players. Not because they shouldn't do as they're told, but because if you've given an undertaking and an understanding and you have an agreement in principle, and then you change your mind because it suits you, you will find yourself in a situation where you're compromised, not just with that player, but with other players and perhaps even the manager. Albeit no manager potentially would want Declan Rice to leave unless they're going to be able to get all of that money back and be able to massively improve every aspect of the playing squad rather than just one position. So, you know, and I was also, when I was watching the game, all witticisms aside, I did think of David Gold, and I also thought of Jackie. I was very fond of Jackie. Yeah, I knew Jackie for years. So it was my overriding thought when I sat there watching them, you know, receive their medals from Ceferin that it was a sad moment for David Gold not to be there.
It was indeed, Simon. It was indeed. Is it a legacy moment for Sullivan and the ownership, the present ownership now?
I don't know. You know, David's rewriting history. He's talking about the fact that he promised them that they would do this and promised them that they would do that. They got into a third-tier European competition. They finished in the bottom third of the Premier League. And when he's made those observations, he was selling players like Payet and buying people like Robert Snodgrass. And that's not quite how they manifest how they suggested they would manifest the outcomes, but they've got them, and that's to do with David Moyes.
And on Moyes, he's there as long as he wants to be.
Well, yes, in moments of euphoria.
I mean, within reason.
In moments of euphoria and elation, you will say things that may come back to haunt you if you lose the first 6 games of the ensuing season, because everything changes. That's the moment. David Moyes thoroughly deserves it. They've won a European competition, irrespective of what people like me think of that European competition. They've won it.
Yeah.
Tottenham Hotspur went into it last year. They didn't even get past a nondescript Portuguese side, right?
Right.
So let's have it right.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, you have to give due credit to those that have achieved this outcome. It gets them in the Europa League. The only thing is that, we will have to now listen to a staple diet of, as I said, a bunch of plastic. All we need now is Ray Winston and Danny Dyer to rock up, and we'll have the full ensemble.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.